Morning and welcome to the vlog. The season's over, but I'm going to continue vlogging and documenting everything that I get up to. So come along for the ride, watch what I get up to, subscribe, like, share, obviously. Yeah, so today I'm going to head off to get some storage boxes for the workshop. I need to tidy up the workshop and clear a bit of space before I get cracking on the winter build of the drift car. I say that, I don't really know if I'm gonna make it into a build, but there's definitely bits and pieces that I'm gonna get up to working on the car, so obviously helps to have a clean, tidy workshop. So yeah, I'm gonna go off, get the boxes and then head to the workshop, but first it's coffee time. Cannot start the day without a coffee. So yeah, I'm gonna head off now and I'll see you in the workshop. So I've been to what turned out to be Pound Stretcher in the end. Managed to get a couple of boxes. They're just cheap plastic storage boxes. But yeah, I thought I'd try the cheap ones to start with. If they're no good, then I'll just replace them with better quality ones. But the main reason is just to get some of the crap stored in plastic boxes and out of the way, just to kind of neaten up the workshop. So yeah, it's handy to store like new parts in if you've got silicone hoses, tubing for exhausts, or you know, anything like that. It's just handy to keep it in a nice clean environment. Otherwise, you know, being in a workshop, it does tend to cover everything in dust, especially if you're cutting stuff up like metal fabrication and bits and pieces. So yeah, good idea to keep everything stored in at least kind of watertight containers, really. Alright, so first job on the 180SX. If you can just about make out there, those bolts that go through there, they hold the gear shifter mechanism. So the bracket basically that holds the gear shifter on. So yeah, they came loose at Silverstone, which I didn't notice when we were at Trax the other weekend. So yeah, they've come loose, and that makes the gear stick obviously move about, so it makes it difficult to select gears. I honestly didn't notice until I was moving it about in the workshop last weekend. So yeah, not ideal really. That whole bracket I'm going to redesign as soon as the gearbox is removed from the car. I'm going to weld it up, make it strong, and then of course those bolts will be Loctite. We'll have Loctite applied to them, and it'll be a lot stronger, and hopefully next time it's not going to come loose. Also, I really would like to redesign this exhaust. Don't know if you can see, but it comes down there, then goes to this flexi, and then another joint at the back. Obviously it's handy to have joints at the back of the car, because if you just want to take the back box off for whatever reason, you know, work on the rear of the car, take a diff out, the subframe out, you can. And also the tip is a bit damaged up, mangled up, so I'd like to replace this and weld a new one on, or get a new back box, but just kind of tidying the car up, making it a bit more presentable. Really, without spending too much money, because that's the whole idea of keeping the car basically usable and not spending too much money on it in case it does get smashed up. Obviously it's a risk, you know, motorsport's a risk, drifting's very risky, I guess, class it as an extreme sport. So yeah, with that bolt loose, it made this whole shifter kind of rattle around. I'm pretty certain that the gearbox mounts were shot as well, so I've replaced them. One of them was definitely a lot softer than the other one. So yeah, changed them out. As you can't see under that boot, but basically there's quite a lot of bolts which hold that shifter together. And obviously if they're not all Loctited or using the locking nuts, then they'll rattle themselves loose. So yeah, they're replaced. Well, they are locking nuts, and where I can, I've used Loctite as well. Always a good idea on any drift car or competition car, probably even road cars to be fair, to use Loctite or locking nuts on most on most components on the vehicle. So yeah, I'm going to tighten it up now and give it a little try, make sure it's alright, and then I'll move on to the next thing. So I've mounted that back on, or in, but I don't know if you can see when I pull back to change into 4th gear, the whole assembly moves down. Basically that's because of the bracket. It's kind of, there's so much leverage that it's just bending the mild steel that the bracket's made out of. So I'm definitely going to pull the box out and do a proper job of finishing off the bracket. And at least that way I can measure it up and get it sorted. Another thing that happened yesterday, I got my handheld fire extinguisher serviced. This thing here needs to be serviced every 2 years. I think it was actually serviced a year ago, but still, it's good to have them checked anyway. Do you know what? I'm tempted to get a bigger fire extinguisher because it's only a small 0-2000 one, which I guess is what, 2 litres. But what I'd like is a bigger fire extinguisher system, one that I can have a jet or nozzle at the back for the fuel cell, one for the driver, and then preferably 2 in the engine bay, one for turbo and one for fuel side. I think the Formula D rulings state that you've got to have a nozzle in the back in the fuel system, which kind of makes sense really, but obviously that's not in BDC at the moment. Yeah, something to think about though, because obviously if your car burns out, you know, that's it. There's no, for most people, no insurance, and you can't really rebuild it. And if you blow your engine, if you crash it, generally you can resell it, rebuild it. Fire can just destroy the whole car. What else? I still need to rip the dash out. I'm going to pull the dash out tomorrow and I'm going to post it off to Race Tech, get them to check it over, and I'm going to sell it. Pretty much made up my mind. I'm going to get another dash, probably the race pack. Seems like good value for money. Yeah, so apart from that, the other thing, I need to order some metal and the perspex for the box that the fuel tank's in. Inside that box there, I'm going to make a clear lid which has got with quick release fasteners, so I can quickly, visually inspect the fuel level without taking the lid off. But then when I want to change the fuel, top the fuel up, I can quickly release the lid. So that's on the list of things to do. I'm going to get that metal ordered tonight. That is it for the day. You wouldn't believe how long it takes tidying up, and I've hardly even scratched the surface as well. The workshop is not how I want it to be at the moment. As you can probably see, it's quite cluttered. I need to tidy up quite a lot of stuff, hence why I bought the boxes. I've got a few things for sale. I've got quite a lot of S13 stuff, funnily enough. So if anyone's interested, I'll be putting that stuff on eBay. I'll put a link in the description below for those parts. Yeah, I've just chucked the car on like a battery. It's like a battery charger, but it's like a conditioner. So basically, it just maintains the charge, and it's safe to leave on 24/7. I think they're only about 50 quid or so. So obviously, if you've got a drift race car, I don't know, competition car, Japanese car, anything that you keep in the garage for long periods without using, I guess either you disconnect the battery from the car and keep checking it with a battery charger every now and again, or you can put one of those on. They seem pretty good. I've heard good things about them. Quite a lot of people use them, so yeah, I would recommend. But yeah, I'm gonna head off home now, and I'll be back in the morning. Hopefully there'll be some more interesting stuff to actually vlog tomorrow. Yeah, so I'll check back with you tomorrow.